Where we talk about stories and stuff. My name is Heather Murray Elkins, and I wish you season's greetings. And I want to begin this season and this session with a confession. I am a very bad cook. It's a regrettable habit to not be able to cook that I probably won't create or correct in this lifetime. And the story that I want to share with you has to do with the gifts that sometimes you're given, the stuff that you have that you don't inherit, though you treasure. And one example is this. This is my mother's cookbook. She, unlike me, was a wonderful cook. She did follow basic recipes, but most of the cooking came straight out of her head. And part of the problem about learning to cook like Grandma is I could never quite figure out what a pinch or a smidgen of a spice was, because she cooked almost by hand. But this is her cookbook. And in this season, I enjoy looking at recipes that I could tell that she, in fact, tried, because there's a little bit of smudging, old-fashioned pound cake and fruit cake and spice cake apparently were things that she turned to often. So the story about cooking and how one can be loved and forgiven for not being a good cook belongs to this season. When our son turned 9, he was inducted into a wonderful educational opportunity, and that was St. Thomas Choir School in New York City. He became a St. Thomas choir boy. Good Methodist that he was, he adapted very well to the Anglican evensong and the gift that they gave young boys about being able to make beauty at a very young age, the power to create something that was almost better than life. He truly grew and appreciated. But my intersection with his experience, and it was one that came about the 3rd year of his time there, happened when I got a call from a choir mother, and they were about the business of putting together a St. Thomas cookbook. And she was just calling to be sure that I knew what recipe my son had submitted that he wanted in the cookbook. Because unknown to me, the practice was that the chef would allow each boy to pick their favorite meal and cook that for them at least once in the month, to help with the homesickness, to help with a sense of connection. And they got to eat what their mothers made. And they decided to gather those meals together in this particular season and make a choir school cookbook. Well, I thought that was just wonderful, but I was thinking to myself, what would Daniel have submitted? And then came this very awkward question from this choir school mother. Did I really want to have in the cookbook my son's favorite meal? And what my son's favorite meal was that he had submitted, and apparently once a month had been fed, was oodles of noodles. And that what was going into the choir school cookbook. So I was properly embarrassed, and she was trying not to laugh. And I agreed, while that was in fact his favorite meal and probably the extent of my cooking, that wasn't what should go into a cookbook. So we agreed to trade. I would write a poem, and that would go in the cookbook instead. So, with your indulgence, instead of a wonderful recipe for a fruitcake, I will read you a poem written for a young boy at St. Thomas. And the scripture comes from 1 Samuel 1:28, and it's called Hannah at St. Thomas. In this Madonna season, I sit surrounded by plain and not so plain song, searching for the one bright note attuned to my sound. Like Hannah, I brave the eyebrowed skepticism of presiding priests who rightly suspect my presence is less pious, more maternal. No matter. I know what I've placed on the altar. Bone of bone, flesh of flesh, a gift no usher could collect in plates of silvered velvet. In this Madonna season, I am reminded that birth is just the first separation, and though each sock is named, each letter numbered, there's a loss which is never reclaimed. For each procession moves through time as well as space, and every turn reveals less child, more power in his face. Neither maestro nor messiah, he simply lives and moves and sings. And in place of angel visits, I only ask that in his dark of night, he'll hear all that is holy call him by name. It's a recipe.